It's okay. Okay, we not dying today.
Everything I do for us.
So Dennis Quaid has lost his damn mind. This guy's a freaking lunatic, and I'm excited to talk about it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to my opinion/review for The Intruder. I really do appreciate it. Now, this film, The Intruder, is something that I have been looking forward to because of the cast. I'm a big fan of Michael Ealy, Megan Good, and Dennis Quaid. He's really, really good too. I'm pretty much a fan of all three of these actors and what they've done in the past with all of their work. Now, this film is also being directed by Mr. Deon Taylor. If you're not familiar with his work, he directed a film that came out around the same time last year called Traffic with Omar Epps and Paula Patton. It was pretty good for the most part. I did enjoy it. And he also did Meet the Blacks with Mike Epps, which came out a number of years ago. I did not see it, but I heard that it did deliver a few laughs. Now, the writer of this film is David Lowery. He did Lakeview Terrace, which came out with Samuel Jackson a number of years ago, and that was an okay film. But he also did Obsessed with Beyonce and Idris Elba, and I was a big fan of that film. And I wanted to list the writer in this film for reasons which I'll go over later on in this review, but it was pretty important to me. But what this film is, Intruder, if it's not obvious enough, is Megan Good and Michael Ealy are a married couple. Their characters' names is Anna and Scott. Scott is a marketing director, and I believe Anna is a journalist, and she's, very passionate about women empowerment and just, empowering women in all walks of life. And so one of the things I really do like about this film early on is just their relationship. They look like a very good married couple. They're not perfect. They do have their issues that kind of unravel themselves as the film progresses on, but I really do like them. You can really tell that they love each other just through their dialogue and physicality. I mean, it looks like a match made in heaven. Something else that I really did like about this film was the soundtrack. At certain times, the right song did come through to intensify the scene, whether it was love making, driving through the woods, or just at a club or a bar, anything like that. I think the soundtrack was perfect. It's not anything that I would just necessarily go and buy because I'm just not like a music connoisseur like that myself, but it is something that I noticed and helped levitate the film to the next level to make it that much good. Now, I also want to talk about, of course, is Dennis Quaid, one of the main actors in this film. Like I said in my intro, he is crazy as hell. He is a lunatic, and he played the role very, very well. I've never seen him play a role like this before. He's usually the protagonist, the good guy, somebody that you're rooting for, but not in this film. He's the person that needs to just, go die, jump off a cliff, get eaten by a school of sharks or something like that, because he really is crazy. And his facial expressions and his mannerisms he really does put that on the forefront, just to kind of just show you how sick that he is in the head. I mean, he really did a good job here. I mean, like some of the times when he's just like sitting by himself, looking in the mirror, making faces, making smiley faces, frowny faces. I'm just kind of like, wow, man, this guy is just like really nuts. And to be honest with you, he's the best part of this film. There isn't anything in this film that I like more than his performance. The other performances were great, but just not remotely close to his. Now, something else that really did impress me in this film is the direction and the editing. I thought it was top notch. I don't know what Mr. Deon Taylor did, but it was just some way that he was able to shoot a certain scene and frame it in a certain way to really just kind of pull you in. And then when you have the editing, really cut it in a way to where you're kind of at the edge of your seat or jumping. I mean, I kind of forgot that this film is a horror film, and when I'm looking at IMDb right now, it's described as a drama, horror, or mystery, and I'll go ahead and give it drama, mystery, and thriller, but horror is just something that I wouldn't put to it myself. But there was a couple of jump scares in this film that made me jump, and it just kind of came out of nowhere, and it wasn't cheap or anything like that or annoying. It really did help bring the film to life in more ways than I could have imagined going in. And that was a nice surprise, something that I did not expect. Something else that I also liked about this film is just kind of how the story developed around the married couple and how it kind of gives you backstory on how they started out in their relationship. It's not anything that is fleshed out too much, but the writers do give you enough to where you're like, okay, man, this is a real life couple right here. Somebody that I can relate to. It's not just sunshine and rainbows with this couple and everything gets along. No, it's nothing like that. I mean, they do have their problems and they try to work it out, and it did seem realistic to me, and that is something that I appreciated. Now, unfortunately, I do have to list a few of the bad things in this film. All films aren't perfect. And as I was driving home, I was just thinking about this more and more. Towards the end of the film, it seems like all the common sense just kind of left the scene and flew out into space to where it can never be found again. Megan Good's character, which I was really into at first, she's very nice to look at as well. She was just very naive, and that's just very, very frustrating. Now, when it comes to a married couple, and I don't think anyone should really take relationship advice from myself, but when you have a man and a woman that is married, a woman needs to listen and respect her husband, and a husband needs to listen and respect his wife. I mean, it's kind of a team here. You know what I'm saying? People just can't go off doing whatever they want and not expect to be held accountable for it. And there were just too many times in this film to where that happened, especially coming from Megan Good's character. A slight spoiler here, but if the guy keeps showing up at your crib, you have to just know that there is something wrong, that just things are not adding up. And when you continue to allow him in the house, you're enabling his behavior. And she just kept doing that over and over and over again. I mean, if you feed a stray cat, he's just going to keep on coming back and bringing more cats. And her character kept doing this in this film, and it was very annoying. I did not understand. It's kind of funny and sad at the same time that me as a black man feeling in real life to where if I was in an emergency, to whether I would be hesitant or not to call the cops. I mean, yes, they're supposed to come and save the day and protect the good guys from the bad, but I don't know if I'm going to be mistaken as the bad guy. Unfortunately, that happens. But when I'm watching, that's what I was thinking about when I was watching this movie. And as I was watching, too many times I was literally screaming like, oh my gosh, pick up the phone, call the goddamn cops. Like, what are you doing? I mean, you have the higher ground here. What are you doing by yourself in the house? You're not going to be able to get away or fight this person away. Call the cops. And there were just too many times to where the cops could have been called to save the day, but it just wasn't taken advantage of. Another thing is, I don't know. I mean, I live in an apartment, little townhome right now. I've never purchased a home or owned a home myself, but I can imagine to where if I'm going to buy a home, if I'm going to purchase a home to where I want to start a family, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to do some research on the house. I'm going to do some research on the person that is trying to sell me the house and everything possible. That I'm just trying to get it as much information as possible. And none of the characters did this in this movie. Scott and Anna, they just didn't do that. That, hey, a house is for sale. We're not going to do any research. We're just going to buy it. Deal done. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm like, what's going on? And that came and bit them in the rear end towards the end of the film, and it just really didn't make any sense. Now, other than that, I really don't have anything else to complain about. Like I said, I really do like the married couple. They did seem realistic to me in some of the problems that they had to address in this film. I like the soundtrack, I like the directing and the editing in this film, and I thought that Dennis Quaid did a great job in the role. However, the common sense that they just left on the cutting room floor and not doing research and calling the cops and things like that, it became very frustrating to me, and it brought my rating down. If I had to rate The Intruder out of a 1 out of 10, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. Yes, a 6.5 out of 10. At one point, I would have said to myself, hey, this is a strong 8, strong 8.5, maybe even a 9. But no, just towards the end, things just kind of fell apart over and over and over, and it left me very, very frustrated. But guys, that is just my opinion. What did you think about The Intruder, or do you want to see it? Have I turned you on? Have I turned you off? Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Let me know down in the comment section below. Let's get this conversation going and keep it flowing. If you like this video, go ahead and give me the thumbs up. If you don't, that's fine, but you can still subscribe to my channel. You can also look me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all that good stuff. It's right there at the bottom of your screen, and I made it very easy by providing a link to all that down in the description box below. But guys, I just want to thank you again for tuning into my opinion/review for The Intruder. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.